So now you are aware of mindfulness. Mindfulness means being aware of your thoughts, feelings and emotions without reacting to them automatically. And also we talk about how mindfulness practice in the West as a therapy for stress and depression. But this is more than that. So we talk about the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay? So when you practice the Noble Eightfold Path, Samma Sati, right? Mindfulness is just one of them. So Buddha said, I teach only two things, that's suffering and how to overcome the suffering.
Slide on
somewhere. And how to overcome the suffering. Therefore he said dukkha, samudaya, nirodha, magga. Dukkha means the suffering, samudaya, the cause for the suffering, which is craving, attachment, and the cessation of the suffering, you can overcome the suffering. Okay. Then the path to overcome the suffering, the Noble Eightfold Path. Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vaca, Samma Kammaca, Samma Jiva, Samma Vayam, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. So, starting from the right understanding, so whatever you are going to start, maybe it's your education, your job, new project, you need to have proper understanding about that. It's not only we talk about the Nibbana, but also it's talking more about the proper understanding. In here, right understanding means understanding about the suffering. Until you understand your suffering, that will be very hard to move to the next step. When you think I am suffering, so suffering can be mental suffering, it can be a physical suffering. So in the West, stress, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, that's a part of the mental suffering. So when you are suffering from depression, that will be your physical suffering as well. So the suffering is there. Why we suffer? The reason is too much craving, we attach too much attachment. So then when you manage them, you can manage the suffering. To do that, you need to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. Right understanding, right livelihood, right speech, right effort, right mindfulness, right livelihood, then right concentration, right wisdom, so on. So mindfulness is one of them. So that's why we call Buddhism is a way of life, because we follow the Noble Eightfold Path to overcome the suffering. In the West, just for stress, depression and anxiety, people practice only the mindfulness. So it's just like, you understand, in 30 years ongoing research, John Kabat-Zinn started teaching mindfulness at his stress reduction clinic. It's part of his treatment for his patients. 30 years ago, then he published The Full Catastrophe Living. If you have time, please read this book. And it described how he used mindfulness meditation to treat his patient who got stress, anxiety, panic attacks, especially chronic pain. So from there, in the West, people started to know more about secular mindfulness without any religious context. Then mindfulness-based stress reduction, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy for depression. There are so many mindfulness-based approaches in the United Kingdom. In more than 12 universities, They train health professionals to teach mindfulness. Healthcare, education, social care, it's everywhere now. But just one thing, mindfulness. But there are other 7 things part of this, such as right understanding, right livelihood, right speech, so on. So then we need to follow the Noble Eightfold Path to overcome the suffering. Just following one thing, the right mindfulness, you can manage the suffering. If you want to overcome the suffering, we need to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. How you are going to, the stress, anxiety, panic attack, those things are something that we experience. So how you are going to apply mindfulness in everyday life situations, such as this, the short practice like 3-minute breathing space, 3-minute meditation, 3 times a day, bringing that awareness to your everyday life, living in the present moment at least for 3 minutes. So if you do it 3 times a day, that means 9 minutes. That's the first thing, applying this. Mindfulness is not only just a sitting meditation, not just a sitting meditation. Throughout the day's activities, you realize it is not we use a chair or a desk, the cushion, you sit and watch your breath. No, it is something we put into the action. So 3-minute breathing space and coping with stress, anxiety, panic attacks, that's how we use mindfulness. And also mindful communication, we were talking about that. When you are angry, when you are upset, when you are down, you are aware of it. Then you bring mindfulness that without reacting to that automatically. Noticing it, I am upset, I am down, I am angry. So just noticing it, you don't react to that. That's how you bring your mindfulness to everyday life, just noticing what is happening right now in my body, my thoughts. That's the most important thing when you bring mindfulness to everyday life. Being aware of your thoughts, feelings and emotions. Then, without reacting to them automatically. You can react to them in a mindful way. Mindful communication. We just talk. We don't allow other person to talk. We don't listen. That was the first exercise this morning. Mindful listening. Okay? So just give other person some time to say their thoughts and views. And be a good listener. Mindful listener. Respecting other person, listening. Then stay maybe 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, reflecting on it. Then respond to that. Share your thoughts and views in a non-judgmental way. Sometimes you have so many things inside your heart. You don't like to share it. Very personal thing, even with your best friend. Why? You have fear. If I share this thing with my best friend, and he or she will judge me, being a negative person, or nasty person, or wrong, whatever, in a negative way. So then you hold everything to yourself without sharing it. Where is the trust? It is gone. So if you develop that mindful communication, mindful listening, that's something you can give it to your friends. Developing that, it is based on the kindness and compassion. It's not only mindfulness. When you do this, you develop other positive things such as loving kindness, compassion, and also generosity. You are being really generous with your time. When you are listening to someone, you are being generous with your time. Okay? So, it is not only just the mindfulness. When you are really mindful, you develop other part of your practice as well, part of the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay. And another thing I would like to bring to your attention is, but Mindful communication is quite important, and also looking after yourself. It is really important. You think about other people always. When do you have time for yourself? It is not being selfish. Congratulate yourself spending all day here. This is for you. Okay. So you always think about other people. When you are a student, you spend your whole time for your studies. And when you are married, when you are a partner, you pay more attention to your partner and spending time for that person. And then when you do a full-time job, 8 hours or more than 8 hours, you spend for your... It's nice if you bring at least 3 minutes to yourself. If you don't have 30 minutes, 40 minutes, bring this 3 minutes into your daily life. Start from there. Try to be compassionate to yourself. I have to look after myself. That's the whole intention of loving kindness meditation. Okay? Being compassionate to yourself, being kind to yourself. Based on that kindness, when you are happy, you can share that happiness with everyone. If you are unhappy, when you are upset, when you are down, how you are going to share it? Your happiness. You need to be a happy person. To become a happy person, you need to love yourself. You need to be compassionate to yourself. So if you bring mindfulness to everyday life, you will be able to manage it with love and compassion. Okay, so you all did this today. So what you are going to do from now, the way forward, is the practices you develop today. Then you take it home and start practicing tonight. And also another helpful way of bringing your mindfulness to everyday life is doing one routine activity, at least one routine activity mindfully. Maybe taking your rubbish out, hoovering, cleaning, making your bed first thing in the morning. Doing it mindfully, paying your deliberate attention. So that's how you bring mindfulness to everyday life. And also, before or after one of the routine activities, you just do the 3-minute practice. Then you think, okay, every day before I sleep, I do my 3-minute practice. Maybe after switching off my television, I practice 3-minute breathing space. Before I start my car, I leave every day 8 o'clock home, but from now I leave my home maybe 5 minutes early. Then you go to the car. Before you start your car engine, to practice your 3-minute breathing space. Leave everything what happened at home. Switch it off from there by practicing 3 minutes breathing space. Start your car and go to work. When you're coming from the work, before you start the car, you practice your 3-minute breathing space again. You leave everything what happened during the office hours, you leave it there. You don't bring it home. You come as the wife or husband or whoever with your personal status of your life. So that's how you bring your mindfulness to everyday life. So I think the things you learned today will be very helpful to have a mindful life. We wish you all the best, good luck, good health. Thank you.